let's talk about the Yankees and the Marlins, because the Marlins swept the Yankees for the first time in franchise history, and that happened the last couple of days. That was this weekend that it happened. Kyle Stowers, speaking of, hit a 3-run bomb in the 4th inning on Saturday or Sunday's game, and it was already 3-1 Marlins when that went down. The game 1 was a 13-12 bloodbath.
Well, the thing that's wild about that is the comeback. I remember looking at the score being like, oh yeah, that's pretty typical. I would expect the Yankees to be up, 6 runs?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 12-6 at one point?
They had the lead 3 separate times. And the lead was
but they had a massive lead at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, but they blew 3 separate leads that were comfortable margins that you would expect them to have held on to. They couldn't do it, and then they lose the game 12-13? No. I'm so mad.
Well, and the thing that's crazy is it was all like, I don't want to say the reason they lost, but the players they traded for had a significant role in the loss. There was a Jose Caballero error in right field, and then relievers, Duvall, Bednar, and
Duvall,
who was the other?
Yeah.
There was somebody else who was involved with giving up a bunch of runs. Yeah. It's like, I know it's one game, it's a massive sample size, right? But it's like, that quick after the deadline, it's like, what's happening here? What's going on?
You need your trade guys, the trade acquisitions. They have to come in and prove themselves. And I feel like you have two games to be like, I've arrived. 3, I'll give you 3 if you need it, right? Mm-hmm. If there's a weird situation where you're getting blown out, your starter blew it, and it's an everyday starter, like, if that's fine. Like, if Rodon, for instance, had come in and just didn't do what he was supposed to do, shockingly, maybe, I don't know, does that ever happen? How about Luis Heel coming in and pitching like 3 1/3, right? Come on. So if that happens and you get hung out to dry as one of these new relievers, okay, I'll give you that. We don't know how the bullpen will be managed. I'm just talking about relievers. So if you're a relief pitcher, you have 2 or 3 games, depending on how much utilization they ask you to put forward, right? Or how much they use you. I don't know why I made that more complicated. Depending on how much they want to use you in those 3 games, I need you to show up and earn your paycheck. These guys didn't, and it was 3 games that they lost, and they lost on bad pitching and boneheaded mistakes. Jazz Chisholm got doubled up on a infield fly at first base. Like, and, what is that about?
I was looking at that, like, that was tough. I feel like, I was like, I know you don't want to get doubled up in that situation, but also, like, I don't know. It's hard because you're like, okay, are they going to call? Did they call an infield fly on that?
No,
I didn't think so. And so it's hard because he's trying to get to a spot where if the infielder lets that ball drop, then they're not eliminating his speed off the base paths, right? That he's going to try to get. He's trying to get him find a sweet spot where he can get to second, but also get back if he needs to. And I think he was just a little bit farther off the bag than what he should have been. And I saw, Boone dress down the first base coach in the dugout. And I wonder if he was saying, like, talk to him more, tell him back a step, like, communicate with him more, because I wonder if that's what it was. Jazz is just a step farther off the bag than he should have been. And I don't feel like it was that big of a deal, because that's a tough spot for a base runner, right?
I'm not saying it's hard. I'm saying that we have a whole season worth of boneheaded mental mistakes, and this,
what I'm saying is,
balance,
that's the least of them. That's the least of them.
That's fine, but if you are backsliding this hard and it's one of many, then they all color dark. Every one of them gets shaded in the negative. You can't excuse it as easily because this is a freaking track record.
It is a track. You're right. It is a track record. You're right.
That's the problem.
That one, I'm like, I'm willing to let that one slide, because that's the least of all of them, because it's a tough spot for the base runner, especially somebody like Jazz. Like I said, he's trying not to have his speed erased off the base paths, because it would be just as easy for the second baseman to be like, I would rather have a slow guy at first and get rid of Jazz at second than catch this ball and leave Jazz at first. Right?
Which is
So I'm sure that there was a balance that
yeah.
the Jazz was trying to find there. But then I think what
Right.
they saw was he's just far enough off that I might be able to double him up. And so he made the play.
Yeah.
Because I think, because the other thing is, I bet you if Jazz had taken one step back toward the bag, that he lets that ball drop.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I think it was mostly a smart play on the second baseman rather than a boneheaded play by Jazz. But the problem is that you do have this trend throughout the entire season of bad base running mistakes, and so that gets lumped in with them because it looks bad, because it's against the Marlins of all teams that are 500 team that maybe shouldn't even be a 500 team.
Bro, they're barely a 500 team. So after the Yankees got swept by the Marlins are now the only team in Major League Baseball history with a winning record against the Yankees. The next closest team is the Dodgers, who are a 479 against, and this is all time. In the history of the Yankees franchise, they beat everybody consistently except now the Marlins. And this includes the postseason. The Marlins are now 25-24 against the Bronx Bombers. That is disgusting. I feel like I have a disorder that I now need to seek medical professional attention for. I don't understand how I'm allowed to be hurting this much. So it's hyperbole, but I love it. Okay, the Marlins are now, after they beat the Yankees in 3 games, now they're at 500, Brad. Now they're 55-55 going into tonight's game, which will have been last night as we publish this on Tuesday morning. But Monday night's game against the Houston Astros at Lone Depot Park, we'll see what happens, because if they carry this momentum and this high against Houston, Seattle wins. That's the only equation that matters. Now, here's the thing.
You're right.
Miami was 16 games under 500. The last time they have been at 500 was April 15th. They were 8-8 on April 15th. This is the first time since 2014 that a team has made up 16-game deficit within the season at any point in the season to get back to 500.
That's crazy.
It's only happened 5 times in the wild card era, and the Marlins now have done it twice. They did it in like 2006.
Get ready, Marlins fans, because this 3-game set against Houston at home could be a whole lot easier than what it looks on paper, because in their last 12 games, Houston is 2-10.
Yep.
Not good right now. They lost.
No.
They got swept by the Red Sox. Got 1 out of 3 from the Nats, but they got swept in 4 games against the A's.
Yeah. So I said that Seattle will be the big banger benefit if the Marlins just keep running all over people.